Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're going to look at how you can use the hold functionality in the latest version of the Aircraft and Aviation update number 1, which is in beta. This one is only applicable to the CJ4 where this has been added. In the other aircraft it's also been added, but in this one we are going to focus on the CJ4. We loaded the flight plan already via the built-in flight planner, and the cool thing is that now with this latest version of this CJ4 cockpit, it will also automatically load it. The only thing you need to do is hit the exec button, and the exec button can be found here, right? So the exec button can be found here. So once you've done that, you will see that some things will change. So the dotted line will change to a solid line, and then we can go to the position init, right? The position init, it already has been done, so we don't need to do it. If for some reason you're lost, right, which I had during my previous video, and thanks for the comment about that, you can go to the index and then go to the position init, which will bring you to that page. That's cool, right? Really useful, really handy. Now for this part, or for this functionality, that hold functionality, we're going to use this functionality, but we're not going to do it until we're airborne, so we're going to leave it as is. Currently we're going to set it to proc, which means the progress. Which will show us the progress which we are making during our flight. So let me reset the view. Let me increase throttling slowly. Remove the parking brakes. And then increase the speed.
Altitude.
So we're airborne currently. The altitude warning is due to the fact that the autopilot has been set up to 500 feet currently. So that's something which you need to keep an eye on. We're gonna adjust the autopilot in a few seconds. So also gonna open the autopilot, right, which makes it easy because the autopilot has informed, or the autopilot, the HC has informed us to climb to 7,000 feet. It was already done in the past, so we're gonna use this small button to modify it. Currently it only can be set to, I would say, really bad value. It's 100 feet where you're turning the button, right? So it won't, I would say, adjust the altitude in thousands of feet. So that's, I would say, kind of a pity in some cases. So we're climbing steadily. So I'm going to set to 7,000. Then we're going to activate the autopilot. We're going to activate the navigation mode and also activate the flight level change. This will bring our flight or aircraft on course, right? Because you can see that we're deviated a little bit from the course, so it will automatically make that adjustment. So that's cool, and it will climb to 7,000 feet. You can see on this small display over here, it's now moved to selective altitude, which will make sure that we're staying on that altitude, I would say, for now. Keep in mind that you also need to decrease your speed a bit, because currently we didn't set up the speed. So we're doing that, as you can see. Also try that you're not adjusting it too much, because then you will go too slow, of course. And the nice thing is that you can see it, I would say, based on this small pink line, you can see if, I would say, throttle is in a good shape or if you're, I would say, decreasing. So if this small pink arrow goes down the white line, like you just see, or above, it will mean that you're either increasing speed or decreasing speed. So everything has been set up, right? The flight level change is not active anymore. The navigation has been set up, and that's correct. So let me double check. Yeah, because it will auto adjust now, and that's good. Now when we go to this nice panel over here, you can see that it shows the progress, right? It shows the progress because we visited RD 151. Now we're on our way to RD 150, and then we go to India Victor Lima Uniform Tango, which is a little bit further away, but hey, for now that's okay. So how can you use that holding functionality? Well, that's really easy. The first thing you need to do is go back to the index. So I'm going to use this right screen. for the co-pilot, and then go to the hold. Or you can press the index button over here and then go to hold, and that will show you this option, right? So it will show you the active list of holds which you configured. So currently nothing has been set up, so we're going to click on new hold, and then we're going to select, for example, India Victor Lima Uniform Tango. When we're pressing that one, you can see that it says, hey, the fix is India Victor Lima Uniform Tango. The path is direct, the hold speed is the FAA speed, and that has been currently set to 230, so make sure that you're setting that, I would say, correct. You can, however, also switch to ICAO, right? So you can switch between either FAA or ICAO, depending on what you want. Then you've got the quad/radial, so that's the, I would say, circle which it tries to fly. And then, of course, okay, hey, do I want to make a left turn or right turn? And the lag time, and that the lag time is simply how long does it take to make a full loop for that hold. So what you can see already is here you can see a small circle being drawn. This is the hold. So if I press new hold now, you will see that it gives an error because it makes sense, right? For some reason it makes sense that we can't do it. However, the good thing is if you hit the execute button, you will see that something is being added here, right? So what it has done now, it has added a hold to our flight plan. So if you go to our flight plan by using the FPLN button, you can see, okay, hey, Rotterdam via this, let's say, airway to Iflut we're currently. And then if we press the legs option, you can see hold at. And that's now being added. So what will happen is, if we zoom into this one, it will move to Iflut, and then once we're at that fix, it will use that hold pattern until you say, hey, I want to exit the hold. So it will keep, I would say, flying circles until you say, hey, fine for me, go ahead, and we can continue. So that's good, right? So let's wait and then let's see what happens. In the meantime, you can still go back to the index page, right? Nothing will go wrong, but if you go to the index page, you can directly go to the hold which you configured. So it will also allow you to configure a new hold, right? So you can still go to the new hold, but however, it's not a real new hold. It will simply bring you to the hold which you configured. A little bit weird that they still call it a new hold, but I think it's kind of expected because normally you would probably only have one active hold at a time, right? So let me go to this one, and then it will exactly tell me a lot of things. The only thing which I didn't get working is the fix ETA and the EFC time. For some reason those buttons are also, I'd say, not working, right? Key not active. Because I would have expected that they would have been populated, but for some reason they didn't, so not sure what's the issue of that. In the meantime, we're flying at 7,000 feet, right? So good. So going to the ICAO, to the ATC, to see if we missed something, because I wasn't paying attention to that, of course. Well, of course, it shouldn't be an of course. You should always pay attention to this. But everything is okay. So we're 8 nautical miles from our waypoint, which is called Iflut, over here. And then we're going into the hold pattern. So let's see what happens, right? So let's give it a few minutes, and then we can, let's say, see if everything goes okay. You can see that there's an aircraft in front of us, and also several other aircrafts, right? Here's the, I would say, if they're above or below us, with the minus sign, they're below us, and if there's, let's say, nothing, then they're, let's say, above us. So that's cool. So if you want to have a closer look at this panel, right, you can make an adjustment over here. You can make an adjustment using this button, which will set the range, and then you can zoom in or you can zoom out. Sometimes it's very useful, especially if you want to show the hold, right? So this is the hold which we configured. You can see that there's also an aircraft on our left side, and we're almost closing to Iflut, and then you will see what happens. Keep an eye on this one. So for those who are, let's say, skip the first part of the video, be aware that this only currently works, I would say, either using the fly-by-wire, the working title edition for the CG4, or if you're participating in the aircraft and avionics update, which will have this functionality also. And this is what I meant, right? So as you can see, the flight plan has now been changed, right? So it marks that hold as active. And with the aircraft, since it's using the autopilot based on the navigation system, it will simply follow that pattern. What you will see is that initially it will make, I would say, a little bit steep turn, but after that it will follow this nice line and then will fly back to evolute, and then it will say, either if you don't do anything, it will simply do the round again. But if you say, hey, I want to exit it, then it will continue. In the meantime, we're being, I would say, asked to climb to 210 feet. So I'm going to adjust that.
Altitude.
So we're going to use our climb also to increase our altitude. I would say this. I think this is pretty frustrating that you can only set per 100 feet, because that's, so let's say, a lot of scrolling with your mouse or a lot of pressing the button. But hey, still we can wait, because the autopilot does a lot of things for us, right? You can see that we're on the thin line, right? The straight line already. Whoa, wrong button. Here we go. Then we're pressing the flight level change button. And then we're climbing, right? So you can see that the aircraft already starts climbing. I need to keep an eye on the speed a bit, because we probably need to increase speed. I'm gonna mark this one, make this one a little bit smaller so we can also see what happens. Not sure why the flaps are still set to 15 degrees, so I'm going to remove the flaps. And also watch out that you're not increasing too much, right? Increasing the speed too much is also not funny. And now you can see that we're, let's say, making the circle, right? So initially it won't follow that nice pattern, but once it has entered the, let's say, first straight piece of that hold, it will use that, let's say, nice circle which you predefined. The funny thing is that it still keeps the evolute as, we say, destination endpoint, right? So no matter if you have set up the hold, it will still keep that one. You can also see that both here in the progress, you can see evolute shown here, but also shown here, as well as you can see two entries here, right? One for the hold and one for the, I would say, normal waypoint. So what we're gonna do, if we're really close, we're gonna press this nice button, which is called exit hold. This one should work, but I found some issues with it. We can try it again. I would say when pre-testing this functionality, I was having some issues with it, so that was not that nice. But let's keep an eye on it. In the meantime, switching on the anti-ice also, because it's, I would say, a little bit cold. A little bit, because it's not too bad. And as you can see, we're almost closing that line, right? Because this small pink line comes into the center, then we're good to move or to continue our flight to evolute. Only 4.6 miles to it. So since we're pretty close to it, let's exit the hold, right? So initially I thought, okay, hey, exit the hold, we can do it like this. And what you will see is that it still says, okay, hold at evolute. So I didn't trust this one, so I also pressed it here. And then it says cancel exit, right? So it will remain in that hold pattern. So you can still hit cancel exit, then you will still follow the hold. But if we are now arriving at evolute, it should follow the normal path again, right? So let's see what happens. So here we go, and you can see if you're now looking at the flight plan, it has switched to the next waypoint and also here. So we're good to go, so we can simply continue our flight. So what did we do in this, I would say, nice how-to? We looked at the progress functionality, which is part of the latest aircraft and avionics update, which is currently in beta. So with the hold, normally you will be put in hold, especially when you're, for example, arriving at an airport, because if that happens, right, then you might need to say fly in a hold pattern because it's really busy at an airport for some reason. So once you hear that, you now know how to do that using the latest functionality of this latest beta update. Keep in mind, still in beta, however, it should be, I would say, going into say live mode or in production mode, I would say early next year. Again, here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.